What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the A side. I'm your host, Riley, as always. Today I'm going to be doing an album review of the new album by American indie rock band, The Neighbourhood. I'm not super familiar with this band. I know the song Sweater Wet Sweat Sweat Sweater Sweat I know the song Sweater Weather, their 2013 hit. Most people know that song. It's a song I do really like. I have somewhat of a personal connection to it over the years. It's just a very solid song, but I had never really heard anything else up until this point. And I have to say, this album kind of surprised me. I didn't expect to enjoy parts of it as much as I did. Now, here's the problem with the album is it's extremely front-loaded. The first half of this album is pretty amazing, to be quite honest. It just sounds amazing. It's so low-key, and the vibes are super chilled out. The whole kind of chilled out mood is very reminiscent of the 1968 album Friends by the Beach Boys. Just music you can kick back and kind of listen to that's just very pretty, very good to just kind of, like I said, chill out to. Very low-key, very, very chill, and that's what I really like about it. And also very atmospheric. These songs do a great job of kind of evoking that space-age atmosphere. Just some really pretty sounding indie rock songs. Very good stuff. But the second half of this album turns very generic and kind of starts to drop the ball a bit, in my opinion. So the album opens with a little intro track, Chip Chrome. It really does nothing not worth mentioning besides the fact that it exists. But then it goes to the song Pretty Boy, and this has to be one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. I'm not kidding. This song connected with me so much on an emotional level that a lot of songs don't. And that means it's a really special song. I don't know where to start with it because it's just so beautiful. As I mentioned, this album is very laid back, has a lot of really chilled out vibes. I compared it to the Beach Boys' 1968 album Friends, which is very chill sounding and laid back and relaxing. And very kind of low-key. And this song is the best example of that, in my opinion. Vocalist Jesse Rutherford does a amazing job here. Really does a good job presenting the emotions of being this in love with somebody. And it's just a very beautiful song. Like I said, his voice sounds amazing. He really sells the emotion, and it just really connected with me. And musically, this song is beautiful as well. It's kind of built around this bass line, and it's a very simple bass line, but it's very effective at keeping the song propelled and going forward. And a lot of the strings and stuff on this song sound really great as well. But what really is the icing on the cake of the song is the really woozy kind of islandy guitars that are on kind of the hook and stuff. And that really just ties this entire emotion together because it starts to evoke the feelings of sitting on a beach at night, staring out into the dark waters, kind of pondering your life and how you feel. And it's just a song that really connected with me more than anything else on this album. And for being the opening track, it is the best song on this album, in my opinion. And the song just starts out right, with a tambourine line and some beautiful harmonies, very reminiscent of like My Bloody Valentine or some kind of shoegaze song. And this song actually plays around with some guitar pedals and stuff and does some shoegazy things. And if you know me, you know I love dreamy music, you know I love shoegaze. So this is just... it's an amazing song, like I said, and I want to get into the lyrics, specifically the chorus. Some of the most beautiful lyrics about unconditional, strong love I've ever heard. Even if my heart stops beating, you're the only thing I need. Even if the earth starts shaking, you're the only thing worth taking. Even if the sky's on fire, got you here, it's alright. And if it's all over, I'm taking this moment with me. Just some really pretty lyrics about love over this just beautiful, chilled out, dreamy, low-key song that is just a perfect song in my opinion. Might be the best song I've heard all year, to be honest, even though I have a lot of flaws with this album we'll get into. This song is just amazing. And the streak of greatness keeps going with the next track, Lost in Translation, which once again opens with well, actually, it opens with a sample of what sounds like some vaporwave. I think that's very interesting. We'll get into that a little more later, but I think it sounds really good. And then it once again goes into like a tambourine line, and you've got some more harmonies that just sound great, and also these really space-agey synthesizers that play throughout the entire song, kind of in the background, once again help create that atmosphere of this kind of space-age band, kind of like touring planet to planet, is I think what they're kind of going for with the whole chip chrome and the monotones kind of concept, that they're this kind of like space band. And it's interesting, and I like where they're going with that, and I think this song kind of does that the best, that and Devil's Advocate, the next track. But this song overall is really good. It's a little more upbeat than Pretty Boy, not as beautiful, but still a really solid track, still super chill and really nice to listen to. Followed up by the track Devil's Advocate, which is probably my second favorite song on the album behind Pretty Boy, opens with this amazing bass line that goes throughout the entire song. It is just a super groovy bass line, and I think it sounds great. And while this amazing groovy-ass bass line is going, once again these space-age synths kind of come in, this really weird synth tone. I really like it. But instead of being like it was on Lost in Translation, where it's just kind of a background thing, on this track it is full frontal, and there's a whole like keyboard line with it and everything, and it sounds amazing. Just kind of helps to propel the song forward a little more. It sounds really great on top of that groovy bass line that just gets you hooked into the song almost immediately. Now, my favorite moment on this song is in the first verse, where it starts off, Jesse sings pretty quiet, and he gets to the word lightspeed, and he says lightspeed a couple of times. He repeats it, lightspeed, 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 lightspeed. But as he says it every time he says lightspeed, he's crescendoing. And it's just a really cool moment. I really like where it goes. Nice little moment of build-up. I think it works really well. I think the song is great. Once again, the song has that vibe that's just so low-key and so chilled out to its core. And that is especially notable on the hook here. The chorus absolutely defines the mood of this song and just nails it. It is falsetto harmonies that just sound great and really help drive home the chill, low-key vibes of the song and the album as a whole. Devil's Advocate is just, once again, another amazing song. So far, not counting the opening, we've had 3 songs, and we're 3 for 3. And then we get to Hell or High Water, which feels more like an interlude than a song, but it's 2.5 minutes, and I hate this song. It's so obnoxious. 2 chords the entire time is what you get on the guitar. 2 chords, and it drives me insane hearing those same 2 notes played over and over and over again for 2 minutes straight is insane. I hate it quite a bit. And really the song doesn't do much to save itself. It's that for 2 minutes and then ends with this really weird kind of solo-y thing that's just super out there and strange. Does not fit with the vibe of the last 3 songs whatsoever. And also, it kind of reminds me the 2 guitar notes of Possibly in Michigan, the little perfume section of Possibly in Michigan. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Possibly in Michigan. It's 11 minutes, it's on YouTube, and thank me later. So after that little detour, we're back to track 6, Cherry Flavored, which is once again another one of these great, super chilled out, vibey songs that's super low key. I'm going to say, take a shot every time I say chill or low key in this album review. You're going to be blacked out by the time you're done, because that's what I like about this album. I like the fact that it's so chill, so low key. It's definitely vibe music, but it just hits the emotions and really resonates with me, especially, like I said, Pretty Boy and Devil's Advocate, and this song here, Cherry Flavored, kind of, it's just about kind of like being distracted and stuff by somebody or something. Cherry Flavored conversations, thinking about scenarios in your head that'll probably never happen, but you're so distracted, your head's in the cloud most of the times. Sweet and sour motivation, wish I could keep concentration, being the opening lines of the song. Something I'm sure a lot of people could relate to. Good stuff. But I'm not here to mostly talk about the lyrics with this song or even what it does musically. I just really like, once again, Jesse's performance. I think on these early couple of tracks, she does a really great job on the performances and selling a lot of the emotion and selling the kind of vibes and mood of this album. And I think the melodies on this song just sound really good. I think his voice sounds great, and the melodies, like I said, just great. Two great pairings there. Really good stuff. Another song I really enjoy. And that has a little outro, once again, that sounds like Vaporwave. Well, it is Vaporwave, but instead of this time it being sampled, the band makes Vaporwave themselves. And I like Vaporwave. Macintosh Plus is the one I'm familiar with, and I love that album, specifically the song 420. You all know what I'm talking about. And I think it sounds really good right here. But it's also very disappointing. I wish the Neighbourhood would have stuck with this style, would have kept the whole kind of Vaporwave thing going, because they're really good at it. They're really good at making it, and I think if they would have stuck with it and used that more in the album, it might have kind of enhanced what was to come afterward. But, as I predicted after hearing it, it was completely dropped and never brought up again, which is unfortunate because it sounds really good. And the rest of the album is a far cry from being that. I mean, maybe that's not fair, but the second half is not as good compared to the first half. This album is very front-loaded. Once again, it comes with one of these little interlude songs called The Monotones, where they're singing through some kind of vocal effect. I thought it was obnoxious at first. I didn't like it, but I've grown to not mind it. It's there. Once again, it's not anything too offensive. Then it goes to the song Boo Hoo, which is a song I don't think is bad, but it's extremely generic. And that's my problem with these last couple of tracks on this album, is the album just becomes extremely generic. This sounds like every other 80s throwback indie pop song out there. It sounds like the 1975, but without any of the wit or pretension that makes Matty Healy interesting. It's just kind of here. And I think this is the best of the kind of last couple of tracks. It's definitely the most interesting, that plays with the kind of synths and electronics and stuff more than the rest of them. But it's still just a very generic song. Speaking of generic, we have the next track, Silver Lining, which, unlike Boohoo, does absolutely nothing for me whatsoever. It's about as generic as they come, extremely cookie cutter. I have nothing else to say about it, because it really just is a very uninteresting song that I don't like really at all. It does nothing for me, but it is much better than the song that follows it, which is called Tabaco Sunburst, and that, along with Hell or High Water, are the worst songs on the album. This song starts off kind of interesting. It starts off very promising. It sounds like a song off of Coldplay's Parachutes, which is one of my favorite albums. I love Coldplay's Parachutes. It sounds like a song off of that, but sadly, it goes nowhere this entire time. It just meanders on for its entire runtime, and it becomes terrible. I'm pulling my teeth out with boredom throughout the entirety of the song, begging for it to end, bored to tears, and it just won't. And it meanders on for the entire time, like I said, doing absolutely nothing until very near the end, where there is a fiddle solo for some reason, an extreme left turn, feeling very out of place, not only on the song, but on the album as a whole. And the album closes on the track Middle of Somewhere, which is one of the most cookie-cutter, boring indie songs I have ever heard. It follows the formula to a T. And also it falls into the pitfall of having some really cliche lyrics with I was on the outside looking in, which has been done so many times. I mean, Stained and Dear Evan Hansen, to name a few, much better ideas of the whole outside looking in. And also the whole you need to live before you learn, once again something that's been brought up in themes in so many movies and so many songs. I mean, Crush 40 from the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack, Live and Learn, that song's a rager uncompared to this very, very cookie cutter, boring song. It does not do much for me. So, overall, I don't know how to rate this album. I don't know how I feel about it. It is a great album if you turn it off after Cherry Flavored. The first couple of tracks being Pretty Boy, Lost in Translation, Devil's Advocate, and Cherry Flavored are just 4 super amazing space-age sounding indie pop songs that are just so chilled out and so low-key, easy to vibe with. They connect to me, they sound amazing, they're dreamy, everything you'd want out of a low-key indie song, to be honest. Amazing bass, some cool guitar effects, awesome melodies, awesome vocal performances, just some great tambourine lines, amazing space-agey synthesizers, just some great stuff. But the rest of the album just drops the ball when it comes to originality and being interesting. It all comes off as being very generic and just misses and misses and misses, and doesn't connect to me whatsoever. And I think that's been a pretty common theme in a 2020 album, starting off really good and promising you a really great album, but then kind of dropping the ball as it goes on. The other example of that is the newest Charli XCX album, which when it opens, you think it's going to be like the Yeezus of pop music when you hear Pink Diamond, and the first couple of tracks are absolute industrial pop bangers, but then kind of die off and turn to another boring pop album. So yeah, first half is amazing, second half is generic, but that first half is so good, with Pretty Boy, like I said, being one of the prettiest and most beautiful songs I've ever heard, to be honest. Really connected with me on a level that most other songs don't, and I also really love Lost in Translation, another really amazing song, Devil's Advocate is another really, really amazing song, as well as Lost in Translation and Cherry Flavored also being pretty good as well. And I think they're good enough that I can give this album a 7- out of 10, despite its more generic and quiet moments I'm not a fan of. There's definitely enough greatness here to warrant me giving this album a pretty decent score. So yeah, that is, I don't even remember the name of the album, I'm sorry, it's something dumb. Okay, I had a moment there. That is my review of Chip Chrome and the Monotones by The Neighbourhood. What did you think of this album? What did you think of Pretty Boy as well? I want to know what you guys think of that song, because I just am absolutely in love with it. So yeah, 7- out of 10. Not the worst thing I've heard. Had some really great stuff on it, but kind of dropped the ball in places. Anyway, that's been it for the A-side. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.